Imagine waking up at 45 in a house you chose, beside a person you chose, with a career you built, and realizing none of it was yours. The house was your father's ambition, the career was your mother's fear, the person beside you was chosen by someone you stopped being a decade ago. You succeeded, you climbed the mountain, and at the summit, you look down and realize this was never your mountain. What if the greatest tragedy in life isn't failure? What if it's becoming successful at being the wrong person? Some of the most painful lives are not built on failure. They're built on success. Success that quietly moved in the wrong direction. Long before we asked who we are, the world answers for us. Family, school, culture, expectation. A script arrives first, the questions come later. For some, the script fits. For others, it creates a friction they cannot name. The milestones arrive, the resume grows. Yet, a strange feeling follows every achievement, as if they are participating in their own life rather than inhabiting it. This is the architecture of the inherited script, the most influential story you never consciously choose. Carl Jung called this the persona, the social identity we construct to function in the world. Not deception, necessity. No society could function without it. The problem begins when the mask becomes so successful we forget it was ever a mask. Years pass, adaptation hardens into identity. Eventually, questioning the performance feels unnatural. Jung developed these ideas before social media, before millions carried an audience in their pocket. His warning feels more urgent now than ever. The sociologist Erving Goομμan argued social life resembles theater. Different situations invite different versions of ourselves. In 1959, this was an observation. Today, it feels like infrastructure. The performance no longer ends when we leave the room. Visibility changes behavior. The moment people watch, something shifts, not into dishonesty, but into awareness. Self-expression gives way to self-management. More energy goes into maintaining the image than understanding the person behind it. That is where the inherited script becomes dangerous. The role no longer feels borrowed. It feels like you. René Girard made a simple observation with complex consequences. Most desire is imitative. We learn what to want by watching what others want. If desire can be borrowed, identity can be borrowed too. Modern life surrounds us with examples of who to become. The entrepreneur, the creator with millions, the minimalist on a beach. Each offers a vision. Each competes for attention. The danger isn't imitation. It's imitation that goes unconscious. Borrowed ambitions that feel like convictions. Years spent chasing futures never consciously chosen. Social media accelerated this dramatically. For the first time in history, we are flooded with alternative lives. Some inspire, some manipulate, most do both. The question is rarely whether those lives are attractive. The question is whether they are yours. Because eventually every person encounters the same uncomfortable possibility. What if the life, and what if the voice I call my own, is crowded with expectations that never originated inside me? At some point, reality intervenes. Not always dramatically, sometimes the interruption arrives quietly. A promotion that feels empty, a relationship that no longer resembles the person who entered it. A success that produces relief rather than fulfillment. The common assumption is that these moments signal failure. Often, they signal something else, a mismatch. the life continues. The script no longer does. These moments expose a gap between the person we became and the person we were becoming. Most people experience this as loss, certainty, direction, and identity that once felt stable. But what if collapse is not always destruction? What if collapse is information? A signal that something no longer fits. We imagine transformation as becoming. Yet the deepest transformations often feel different. Less like becoming, more like remembering. Parts of ourselves that grew quiet but never disappeared. That possibility changes everything. The crisis is no longer proof that life failed. It becomes evidence that something inside us refused to disappear. The obvious response is to start over, but many discover the same problem waiting on the other side. Changing the script is not writing your own. Previous generations inherited direction. We inherited freedom and far less agreement about what to do with it. The result is a paradox. More options than ever, less certainty about who we are, because freedom tells you what is possible. It cannot tell you what is yours. Eventually, every person faces a question no algorithm can answer. Not who are you performing, not who are you optimizing, who are you becoming. A life built around performance demands constant maintenance. A life built around alignment generates its own energy. That may be why some people appear unusually grounded, not greater certainty, but a refusal to negotiate with every passing expectation. Their decisions no longer depend on applause, or trends, or comparison. The modern world rewards visibility. The future may reward coherence, the ability to remain the same person across different rooms, different audiences, and different versions of yourself. For most of history, identity was inherited. Today, it must be created. That sounds like freedom. And it is, but freedom carries a responsibility previous generations rarely faced. The responsibility is to decide which voices deserve influence and which ones deserve distance. The challenge is no longer access. As algorithms become increasingly capable of predicting what we will buy, watch, believe, and even become, discernment grows more valuable. The future may not belong to the people with the most information. It may belong to the people who can still recognize which desires are actually their own. Because there is a difference between choosing a life and drifting into one, between admiration and imitation, between becoming and remembering. Perhaps that is why the most important question is not what do I want, but who is asking. Because the answer changes everything. For most of life, we are taught to look forward toward the next goal. The assumption is that meaning waits somewhere ahead. Yet, many people eventually discover something unexpected. The deepest transformations rarely move forward in a straight line. They return, not to the person you used to be, to the person that existed before the performance took over, before the expectations became louder than your own voice, before the script became more important than the author. That is why so many crises arrive disguised at endings. A career ends, a certainty ends, and for a moment it feels like life is falling apart. But sometimes the collapse is not the tragedy. Sometimes it is the interruption of the wrong script. The moment reality refuses to continue a story that no longer belongs to you. The question is not whether you will encounter that moment. Most people do. The question is, what will you recognize when it arrives, and whether you will have the courage to answer honestly. What is the greatest transformation of your life is not becoming someone new. What if it is remembering who you were before the world told you who to be? Perhaps the answer has been waiting beneath the performance all along. This is part of the TOMAAS prophecies, cinematic essays that don't just reflect the world, but read between its fractures through layered visuals and emotional pattern recognition. Art isn't decoration, it's intel. It translates what we haven't yet learned to name, because by the time everyone understands the shift, it already happened. And if something here felt uncomfortable familiar, leave the thought it triggered, even one sentence. And if you're drawn to the visual work behind these ideas, you can explore more of my digital artworks and original photography at TOMAAS.com.